My name is Dr. Iveta Aldava. I'm a lecturer with the UNLV School of Social Work, and it is my pleasure today to serve as your moderator for this very important discussion around social media and body image. My understanding is that you all were inspired, right, by a recent article from the Wall Street Journal titled "Facebook Knows Instagram is Toxic for Teen Girls, Company Documents Show," and it provides an in-depth research, right, that shows a significant teen mental health issue that Facebook plays down in public. So I want to start off by asking a few questions. So why do you all use social media?
I use social media because I see it as an outlet where I can talk to my friends and just keep up with family members who might not live in the same state as me or country. And I just think it's really nice to be able to have a platform where I can just talk to my friends in the matter of seconds.
I use social media for pretty much the same reasons to talk to my friends, to connect with people who I maybe don't see every day. Like I have some friends who live in California and I can be able to keep up with their lives. And it's also helpful to start conversations and to talk even in person on social media trends and things like that.
Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing. I use it to interact with people or even new people and just to show or post things that make me happy.
I agree with everyone. I feel like social media, like everyone's saying about friends, it's a really easy way to have everyone in the same exact place and you're able to connect with everyone with one message. So I feel like that's why I use it, because I'm able to reach more people at one point in time.
The main platforms that I use, and I think this could also go for everyone, has got to be Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. I'd say those are my main three.
Snapchat, even through COVID, that was my way of communicating, just being able to talk to people and being able to post through that really helped build those social bonds.
Yeah, I agree. I think most people now use those. I know also Discord is pretty popular and I use that once in a while.
How many hours do you think you spend on social media, and have any of you tracked that amount of time that you spend on social media?
And sometimes it's 6-8 hours a day. Most of that's probably spent on social media, but I think it's a lot if you really count it out.
I know my time on social media definitely increased a lot during COVID and being unable to see people in person, just because it was our only social connection.
Now, I mean, COVID really did affect the girls' community. We went from I probably only went from 3 hours a day to 8 hours a day.
I'd say a little less. I try to branch away from social media just because of how much I utilized it from the very beginning of quarantine. I'm okay, let's just calm down now.
Has social media ever made you feel bad about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. It's just really hard because you only get to see the highlights of people's lives, so it's really easy to forget how it's not completely authentic. It's not very genuine.
You only see the highlighted events of someone's life, and sometimes you don't see their lows. So that's the point that you're focusing on, can sometimes compare yourself to those moments.
But I also think it's the type of stuff that's posted, because people that you see, they're they might always post about going to parties, or they might always post about all their friends and all this stuff like that, which can make you not feel too good about yourself if you feel like you don't have as many friends or don't do as much stuff as them.
It's super toxic around body image as well, because apps like Facetune have become such common things that people just edit their body and they don't feel like they're enough, or they don't think that they meet a certain standard that they have to edit their body to make them look some type of way. And I think that's become super toxic, because now so many girls and guys as well think that they have to live up to some sort of standard about what is normal or what is accepted in our society.
Right. And I think that's where, as I referenced earlier, right, the article titled Facebook Knows Instagram is Toxic for Teen Girls, Company Documents Show. And in the article, it talked about an experience, right, by a young teenager, a 13-year-old. Her name is Anastasia La Salva, and she started seeing a therapist because she had developed an eating disorder. And she had a clear idea of what led to it, right? And she referenced that it was her time on Instagram. Most of the content that she was viewing, right, was these seemingly perfect lives and bodies of these fitness influencers. So that's kind of what I hear you all saying as well, right? Especially Lauren, you cited that sometimes some of this content, right, really affects the way that you see yourself and your interpretation of perhaps what my body should look like, right? So you start to compare, right, from what you are viewing on these social media sites to reality, right? And so we start to form these distortions, right, of ourself, which then can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, maybe I'm not good enough, right? So have any of you ever experienced such thoughts and feelings when you're on social media?
When I go to post a picture or something like on Instagram, for example, I definitely care a lot and take more than just like 5 minutes to upload a picture. There definitely goes a lot of thought in like asking people if they think it's good enough or like actually asking help with captions. So I feel like that could be I'm a little anxious like for people to like it, or if like of putting that image of myself out there.
I was gonna say like the same thing. Like sometimes before I want to post something, I like look at it like maybe for like 5 minutes, like, should I really post this? Like, is this good enough? Do I look good enough? Without really like saying, well, do I like how I look? I kind of think about what others would think.
It's like, does it like match a certain like aesthetic, I guess, of like, some people have like these like really like cool Instagrams, all these like captions and stuff, and they have like cool pictures and stuff, and you're like, well, like there's like it's kind of like there's like a standard, I guess, for like cool Instagrams, and there's like, and it takes like it's a lot of like thought that goes into it.
Yeah, so has it impacted your self-esteem as well?
It's definitely given me some insecurities. It's made me think about things that I probably wouldn't have thought about if I hadn't seen someone else.
Yeah, I'm with Ella. Yeah, it's never really gotten like extreme, but it has made me like more insecure than I like thought I would be about certain things. A lot of people on, like Instagram, like they always see like like perfect like body influencers, like they're like, oh my gosh, well they look like this and I just look like this, and I'm just like, you don't look like that in like one day, and like they probably Photoshop and do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and around Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, right? They were studying this kind of experience and asking whether it's part of a broader phenomenon, right? And so their findings confirm some serious problems here. 32% of teen girls said that when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. The research said in March of 2020 that comparisons on Instagram can change how young women view and describe themselves. So it correlates, right, to some of the responses and how you feel, as well when you're on these social media platforms and you're viewing, right, a variety of different body sizes and content, around body image, and just how sometimes it makes you feel, feel bad, right, about yourself. Do you ever wish that social media wasn't a thing or didn't exist?
I was one of the children that got social media at a very young age. At the time, I thought it was a good thing because I was transitioning to a different country. So I was like, oh, I could stay in contact with my friends. So I thought it was going to be a good idea at the time. Now I wish I had more time to live without social media. I do think it's a good idea now. I just feel that especially the younger generation should learn to live without it in times.
I think it can be like very positive and like some ways in educating people and like connecting with like friends and stuff like that. I feel like kids shouldn't be getting it when they're like 8 or something like that.
I
Okay.
completely agree with Emily and Hayden. I think kids who are at a younger age, like preteens, should not have social media. It can affect them in such a terrible way, and especially because they see some of these social media influencers as role models, and they begin to think that they need to look like them right in that moment, and that's begin to affect these younger ages as well. And now we see 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds trying to act like they're 18, and they're just growing up so much faster than we were when we were young.
Okay, so I agree with what everyone's been saying about how like the younger generations, I feel like it's not as good of an idea for them to get like social media at an early age. Like how Lauren was saying, like you can see like younger kids, like even at my school, like the freshmen or like the sophomores, you can kind of see they skipped like this awkward age or like this preteen kind of awkward experience that like I kind of experienced. Like I had like where I would do things like and like kind of experience that stuff without having like social media kind of pressures. And even with my cousin, like she's like 13 and she still doesn't have social media, and you can see like how kind of like she's really like down to earth. She's really sweet, and she knows like she hasn't been affected by social media. So I feel like without those effects, it can really like change us and let us develop on our own into better people.
These are great, great, great points. What an awesome, discussion here around social media and body image. And so we have time for one last question. How can we improve social media and make it more of a safe space?
I think social media has definitely improved these last couple of years, and body positivity has been posted so much more around social media, and I think people are being more realistic on social media than they were a couple years ago. So we're definitely moving in a positive direction, and I think if we continue to do that and continue to be real on social media, that would definitely help with the effect social media has on teens.
I think we could really explain how it can be used for good for some people don't like know how to use social media for good, and I'm not saying that like everyone like uses it for bad, because that's not true, but I feel like we could preach more body positivity, and it is being more widespread on the internet, how to be positive on social media and how to use it for good and not use it to be mean or to do things like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree that there are definitely positives and negatives, and I think helping to reduce the amount of Photoshop will definitely help, and just sort of being able to preach more like mental health and body positivity type things.
I agree. I think talking about it more will make it a lot easier and make it a much more positive site in general, because we're all talk about it and we're more open with our bodies and who we are in general.
So there's a great opportunity, right, to utilize social media to educate others, right, about some of the positive ways to use social media. There's also opportunities to raise awareness, right, and be able to have these conversations, these discussions, right, around positive body image, and perhaps help others, right, who may be struggling. And so there is an advantage that we can all use, right, and we can all be a part of that solution, right, by lifting others, by encouraging others, by checking in on one another. And sometimes, it's if we feel that it's affecting us and it's causing us to experience anxiety or depression or any intrusive thoughts about potentially causing self-harm, et cetera, because of your usage of social media, it's recommended to, like Emily, like you mentioned, to maybe cut back a bit, right, and maybe engage in other hobbies, right, or that time that you would be on social media, perhaps go out and go outside, and enjoy, your friends and family, and try to focus on something else that will lift, right, and will, change, how you feel, right, as again, if it's something that is, greatly affecting you, and so, there's a lot of social media, outlets as well, that can also encourage positive images and positive messages. And like all of you are saying, it can be utilized, right, to inspire others as well. So again, I wanted to just thank everyone for joining us today for this very important, discussion around social media and body image. As we can see from all of us here, we are all beautiful in our own way. We are, we're loved and we're enough, right? And so you are amazing group of wonderful young, ladies who are, again, taking the time to inspire others, lift others, and I commend all of you for that.